free to say how decisions that are taken here
affect us all around the country. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'd much rather hear what you have to say. So, send in your opinions to gbviews@gbnews.com. Keep them clean, and you never know, I might read them out. With my panel here on Jubes & Co, we debate, we get stuck into the issues of the day on a show where all views are welcome, especially yours. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens. With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to give you accurate reporting every day. When the news breaks, we'll be there with bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Your weekend starts here with Friday Night Live with me, Mark Dolan, 8 till 9 on GB News. Big stories, big guests and big laughs as we get you ready for a cracking weekend. That's Friday Night Live with Mark Dolan, Fridays 8 till 9 on GB News. Bring your own drinks, the admission's free.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Good afternoon, Britain. Join us, Tom and Emily,
To find out what's happening in the heart of Westminster.
and why it matters to you.
Weekdays from midday, we bring you the most compelling stories from across the United Kingdom.
And from your doorstep to our inbox,
That's right, we want to hear from you.
GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News is Britain's news channel, and now you can support it. All you have to do is scan that QR code that's up on your screen right now, or you can go to gbnews.com/support and become a GB News member. You'll have fantastic benefits. We're also going to organise special events where you as GB News members can meet the presenters, the on-screen faces. Scan the QR code or go to gbnews.com/support. Thank you so much.
This is Farage at Live, Christmas special, live from Birmingham. Please welcome your host, Nigel Farage.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here live in Birmingham with an audience. They're wildly enthusiastic. We're going to have a great show. We'll talk local Birmingham politics. We're going to give out some Christmas prizes to people who've done great work in the community. And we're going to have local lad, Roy Wood, a legendary figure whose record 50 years ago, I wish it could be Christmas every day, and he'll be on that stage with his band playing it later. All of that comes after the news.
Good evening, it's 6 o'clock. I'm Sophia Wensler in the GB Newsroom. The Queen of Denmark has shocked the nation, announcing in her New Year's message that she'll vacate the throne. Queen Margaret II has reigned for more than half a century. She made the announcement on live television moments ago. She's due to step down on the 14th of January, exactly 52 years after she took the throne in 1972. She'll be succeeded by her son, Crown Prince Frederik. Rishi Sunak struck an optimistic tone in his New Year message, promising a brighter future with tax cuts and a reduction in national insurance. He described 2023 as a momentous year, which saw inflation halved and record investment in the NHS. That's despite junior doctors in England planning their longest walkout in NHS history next month. The Prime Minister says his New Year's resolution is to keep driving forward.
Inflation is set to fall further, cutting the cost of living for everyone. And we're not stopping there. We're going further to grow our economy by reducing debt, cutting taxes and rewarding hard work, building secure supplies of energy here at home, backing British business and delivering world-class education.
Meanwhile, the Labour leader says the power to shape the future of Britain rests in everyone's hands. Sir Keir Starmer's message offered a preview of his party's election campaign, saying 2024 needs to give Britain its future back.
In the Labour Party, we've been building to this for 4 years. We're confident we have a plan that can move our country forward, end the cost of living crisis, take back our streets, get the NHS back on its feet, cheaper energy bills for your home, more opportunities for your children.
Boris Johnson's former chief advisor says Rishi Sunak tried to strike what he called a secret deal in a bid to win the next election. Dominic Cummings told the Sunday Times that he was prepared to help the Tories win if he was assured the most critical issues were prioritised. That reportedly includes overhauling defence capabilities and preparing for future pandemics. Number 10 did not deny the report, but says Mr Cummings was not offered a position. The family of a mother and her son who were killed in an avalanche in the French Alps say they're beyond heartbroken. Kate Vokes, who was 54, died when an avalanche swept through an off-piste ski slope on Mont Blanc on Thursday. Her 22-year-old son Archie was also killed. He had achieved his Level 1 ski instructor qualification just a year earlier. Their family asked for privacy, saying the tragic accident had left a hole in their lives. Meanwhile, it's looking like a windy New Year's Eve for many people across the UK tonight. A yellow alert is in place until 6 a.m. tomorrow, with the strongest of the winds expected in the northwest. The Met Office says it's warning of delays to road, rail, air and ferry transport. Gusts of 50 miles an hour are likely, possibly up to 75 miles in coastal areas. Britain's New Year celebrations are still a few hours away, but the party's already started in other parts of the world. Happy New Year to Hong Kong, as well as Japan, Taiwan, Thailand and Australia. Hong Kong celebrated with a huge fireworks display over Victoria Harbour in front of hundreds of thousands of people. In Australia, the famous Harbour Bridge and Sydney Opera House were alight with colours and sparkle. And you can get more on that on TV, online, DAB+, radio. This is GB News, and I'll be back with more news in the top of the hour.
Well, good evening. I'm here in Birmingham. We've got a very big audience and they're very enthusiastic. And this is my last GB News show of the year. I'm going to be back on New Year's Day, and it's a time, in many ways, for us all to reflect on the year that's gone by. I have to say, personally, I've had a pretty cracking year. I've just come back from a little trip to Australia, and this audience have seen a lot of me. In fact, the country has seen an awful lot of me. For some reason, ITV thought my naked showering was something that should be shared with the nation, but I thoroughly, oh, well, there are some fans of it here. I have to say, doing the jungle was a really good thing to do. It was a chance to reach out to a younger audience and a chance for me as a person to try and conquer my fears. If you'd said to me a couple of months ago that I would lie down in a darkened box 6 feet under the ground, where many in the European Parliament had always wanted to put me, and then to cover me with 20 snakes, I wouldn't have believed it. But I learned 1 or 2 tricks of the mind. I've learned, actually, all of us can overcome any fears that we have. It's just about getting your mind in the right place. So the jungle was a really big moment for me. I was thrilled to reach the final, and 23 nights in the jungle. You think about it, no tea, no coffee, no salt, no sugar, no pepper, no alcohol. And I've come back thinner and fitter than I've been ever since I was at school. So that has been a really good thing for me to do this year. And of course, the middle of the year was dominated by the debanking scandal. There I was for 43 years, a loyal customer of the NatWest Group, banking with Coutts, one of their wholly owned subsidiaries, and for no reason I could find at all, I finished up being told that all my accounts would be closed. And I can't tell you how terrifying it is to think you're going to be debanked. I went out onto the high street, I met many of the big clearers, many of the private banks. 10 other banks refused to do my business. It just shows you the extent to which the whole woke culture has overtaken the big corporates in our country and across the Western world. Well, of course, I could have just gone away quietly. Not kicked up a fuss. But I thought, no, I'm going to take the so-and-sos on. And they got rid of me because they didn't like the views that I stood for. Legal, democratic, perfectly reasonable views, but I was to be debanked because of that. So I fought them, and we managed to get rid of the CEO of Coots and the CEO of NatWest, Dame Alison Rose, who said I didn't have enough money to have a bank account at Coots. If she'd known I was going in the jungle, she might have changed her mind. And ever since the day it launched, I've loved being part of GB News. It seemed to me for years the establishment needed to be challenged, and a real highlight earlier this year was winning that Trick Award as News Presenter of the Year. And I did that because people like you voted for me, supported me, and it was so great to go up on the stage and be booed by the rest of the industry. Mind you, I did tell them probably that all lose their jobs, so perhaps it's not a great surprise. They got terribly upset. Another highlight was the Tory conference. I hadn't been to one for 30 years. And even though I was there as a GB News presenter, I was sort of treated like the prodigal son returning. So it's been a really great 2023. Now, whether Rishi Sunak would say that 2023 had been a phenomenal year, I'm not too sure. Of course, we've had the famous 5 pledges. One of them he is succeeding with, and that is, of course, that inflation is rapidly coming down. But given the contraction of money supply, I genuinely worry that we could be in recession in 2 or 3 months' time. And as for Stop the Boats, we're being told to celebrate that the numbers are down. Only 30,000 young men have crossed the English Channel this year. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be celebrating. As I say, I don't think he's had quite such a good year. I'm not sure the Conservative Party have had quite such a good year. I wonder whether Gary Sambrook, Conservative Member of Parliament for Birmingham Northfield, you've been in post since 2019. Yeah. A Conservative in a built-up part of Birmingham has not been a very common thing over the last 20 or 30 years, and welcome this
Thank you very much
to the
for having
programme.
me.
Very good to have you here. Now, you got in 2019. You were part of that red wall shock, a majority of 80. And you, of course, Gary, sound man, Brexiteer all the way through. And you got elected on this ticket of getting Brexit done. Be honest with me. How disappointed do you feel?
I don't feel disappointed at all. And, you know, today I visited a school in my constituency, Turfs Green Boys School, a challenging school which has been in special measures. And I remember spending at least the first 2 years of my time in Parliament with the Left and Labour Party and the SNP moaning about Brexit, etc., and things like the Erasmus scheme and how it was going to deny generations of children to come opportunities. Well, I'm afraid Erasmus was basically for middle-class kids with parents who have got sharp elbows. Yeah. Today, I heard about how dozens of children from a working class community in Birmingham are basically going around the world, finding new experiences, having those opportunities to them and learning new skills on the back of Brexit. And I think that's a very proud thing that we can all be very proud of, and we are delivering it. Everyone always had different visions of what Brexit would be. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily a one-size-fits-all, but I think we have delivered it, and I think it's also making sure that we're delivering for people on the promises that they wanted to see from Brexit.
Well, Gary, one of the promises was to control our borders. Yeah. And we have had illegal immigration and indeed legal immigration running at numbers that nobody in this room would have believed even possible just a few years ago. And, you know, you yourself were one of the early MPs saying that Boris had let the country down. I mean, an 80-seat majority, so much good change could have been put in place.
Be honest, it's been squandered a bit.
I don't think it has. If you look at the events which have happened over the last couple of years, as politicians always say, events, dear boy, we had some fairly serious curveballs. 3 months into this job, we shut the country down because of COVID.
I know.
Right, that was a big
and you
thing.
shut it down again and again and again.
I didn't vote for all the measures, I hasten to add, because I thought sometimes it went slightly beyond what was necessary. And we'll see from the COVID inquiry whether that was handled well or wrongly.
A COVID inquiry that we won't get the results of until about 2027.
Well, yeah, and also, unfortunately, I think it's focusing primarily on personalities rather than on policy. I want the inquiry to tell me whether we made the right decisions, not about the who said, etc.
No, I agree with that.
Personality
I agree with
aspect.
that. Gary, you know, it's going to be a tough job for you. There's an election next year. You know it's going to be a tough job for you. Are the problems that Birmingham local council has been undergoing maybe one thing that could help you?
Well, I mean, it's an absolute disgrace what we've seen happen at Birmingham City Council. For months now, we've known that the City Council is bankrupt. And Labour councillors have not been making the tough decisions, but they've needed to and been kicking the can down the road. £14 million every month is added onto the debt in Birmingham when they don't make a decision on equal pay. And here we are in December, 4 months after the announcement was made, and we're still not a step closer to making that decision. It's an
Could that
disgrace.
issue save Gary Sambrook his seat?
Well, I don't know, there's something I'm going to campaign on, but also I want to talk about positive things that I've been doing. If you come down to my patch and go to Longbridge, where MG Rovers stood for nearly 100 years, etc., that is a place which is going through massive transformation. The money I've been able to get there, for we're going to get 5,000 jobs on Westworks, and the proudest thing I always look at, because I live around the corner from there, and when I go past it and I walk the dog and I see a new manufacturing unit on that site, bringing manufacturing jobs back to the old MG Rovers site for the first time since 2005. I'm deeply proud of that.
If you've got good local stuff going on, all I can say is you're going to need it in that general election. But for now, very, very
Let's put a cracker.
Happy. And you won! Happy Christmas! Excellent. In a moment, I'm going to be giving out some awards to people in the local community who've done great work. For now, it's thanks to Gary, thanks to the crowd. Back with you in a couple of minutes.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Good afternoon, Britain. Join us, Tom and Emily,
To find out what's happening in the heart of Westminster.
and why it matters to you.
Weekdays from midday, we bring you the most compelling stories from across the United Kingdom.
And from your doorstep to our inbox.
That's right, we want to hear from you.
GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Wake up to the headlines with Headliners every morning at 5 a.m. We treat you to the day's biggest stories before anyone else, 7 days a week. You can catch up on everything you need to know before you've even had your kippers. Headliners every morning at 5 a.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News, unlike other broadcasters, isn't obsessed with the London-Westminster bubble. We think there's a nation beyond the M25, and that's why we talk about the issues that matter across the land. Join me on State of the Nation, 8 to 9 o'clock, Monday to Thursday, on GB News. Daisy's listening, and you should too.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens. With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to give you accurate reporting every day. When the news breaks, we'll be there with bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Your weekend starts here with Friday Night Live with me, Mark Dolan, 8 till 9 on GB News. Big stories, big guests and big laughs as we get you ready for a cracking weekend. That's Friday Night Live with Mark Dolan, Fridays 8 till 9 on GB News. Bring your own drinks, the admission's free.
Tired of the usual focus-tested, pre-prepared Westminster runaround? Well, so am I.
So you want higher taxes?
Is your department to blame for this? Are you rethinking this policy? Every Sunday at 9:30, I'll be sitting down with those in power to get the truth about the issues affecting you.
Let's be honest, we've known about the cost pressures of this project for years, not months.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show with personality. On GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Andrew Doyle. Join me at 7 o'clock every Sunday night for Free Speech Nation, the show where I tackle the week's biggest stories in politics and current affairs with the help of my 2 comedian panellists and a variety of special guests.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
So, it is Christmas. It is the time of the year when we want to give out presents to people, but we also want to reward people. And there are in this community people that have done really good things, really decent things, and it's our moment as GB News to reward them. And I'm very, very pleased to say, amazing really, but Santa himself has come to join us this evening. So let's get cracking with our prizes for people in the local community that have done great things and deserve to be rewarded. Now, we're going to start right at the very front here, because I'm going to say hello to Mark and Anita. Good evening.
Hello. Evening, Nigel. Nice to meet you.
You're looking very, very elfy, I must say. I must
Very
say.
festive.
Now, this is really a nice story, because, Anita, you're a retired... You didn't know this was coming, did you?
No, I didn't.
No.
Surprises.
No. He did it. Mark did it. So Anita is a retired police officer, and a few years ago, 4 years ago, she came across an army veteran in sheltered accommodation, and he was going to be on his own having a microwave Christmas dinner. And I don't know about you, but I think too many of our ex-servicemen find themselves in difficult circumstances, find themselves homeless. But Anita decided she'd do something about it. And she invited him round for Christmas lunch, and he's now been coming for Christmas lunch for the last 4 years. And Anita visits him every week and buys his shopping. How about that?
He's watching tonight, Nigel.
Right. Anita.
Hi, he's actually watching this programme now. He usually goes to bed early, but he is staying up tonight to watch this programme. So I'd like to say a huge hello to Selwyn.
Selwyn, there we are. Very good. Now, Mark, you sent this in. I mean, it is... She's clearly a very kind-hearted woman.
Truly kind. She's bankrupted us.
We had to buy a larger table for Christmas dinner and everything. We had to buy a larger table for Christmas dinner, and he has 3 courses. He eats like a king on Christmas Day. And he has a pint of John Smith's as well, Nigel. So
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that.
And I send him home, and he has got about 20 presents under the Christmas tree already. And we make Christmas special for him.
Well, we think, Anita, you deserve to be rewarded. And according with that, Santa is here to present you with a Christmas present.
Very well deserved.
Absolutely. Very, very good. Very good. Well done, Anita. Very, very good. Now, in line with the fact that it is Christmas and we have to give out presents, and some people make unusual requests, and James here, your stepson Jensen had an unusual Christmas request, I understand.
He did. He had a very unusual request for Christmas. He wanted a Nigel Farage life-size cardboard cutout.
Jensen, is this because of the jungle or because of politics?
I've just always loved you.
Well, there isn't much I can say. There really isn't much I can say to that. So you're a long-term supporter?
I am, yes.
Very good. Well, I tell you what, there's quite a few new ones who quite enjoyed me in the jungle. Well, did you think your request was going to get granted?
It was very hard to find, to be honest, so no, I was really going to struggle.
Santa, though, is here, Jensen. Where is Santa? We're looking for Santa. Here comes Santa. Absolutely brilliant. Well, there we are. We better sign it, I suppose, hadn't we, really? Are you embarrassed, Jensen? Well, you probably ought to be. There we go. Come and have a quick look.
There we go.
There we are. All yours. Brilliant. Happy Christmas, Jensen. Very good. Thank you very much. Now, at Christmas time, we tend to get bombarded. We get bombarded by requests to give money to charities. And the big charities are well organised, well funded. But sometimes it's the smaller charities that maybe struggle to raise the money. And we've picked a local charity that we want to try and help, if we can possibly, here on GB News. And we have picked the Birmingham Dogs Home. And they were founded. They've been going since 1892. Here we are now. I am joined by Rachel, Hayley, but more importantly, I'm joined by Reva and Betty. Now, they say never do live television with dogs, but I don't care. Now, ladies, it was said years ago, a dog's not just for Christmas, but actually, it's the pandemic, isn't it? So many people buying puppies in the pandemic, and as I understand it, the number of dogs that you've had to take in and try and rehouse has gone through the roof.
It definitely has. We've had over 2,100 already this year. December, we're still getting them in. We have been full to capacity throughout the year, this year since last December. So we just want to say thank you to everyone who does support local charities like us.
But, you know, with Reva and Betty, I mean, presumably, once they've been seen on television, people will come forward and want to give them a home.
Hopefully, yeah. So if anyone is looking for a dog, you know, check out your local charity, check out our website. But if you're not ready for a dog, you want to help us in different ways, just support us by donating what you can.
Well, I tell you what, I haven't got Santa for you because I think you should use this opportunity to try and get people to help you. So there's no box of chocolates, there's no flowers, but we want to help the Birmingham Dogs Home. If people want to help what you're doing, what do they... And I understand you've even got a Christmas record out, right? And those watching this on television can see where to go on the screen. But just remind people, what can they do if you want their, if they really want to help you?
So we always ask for donations of anything of dog items, things as simple as washing powder. We wash a lot of bedding every day. Money donations you can donate through our website. You can pop in and visit us and come and see our dogs and offer your support that way.
And what's the website?
So it's birminghamdogshome.org.uk.
birminghamdogshome.org.uk. Couldn't be simpler. Thank you very much, both of you, for what you do. And these very well-behaved dogs deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Now, one of the biggest stresses and one of the biggest strains at Christmas, of course, is on the person in the house that has to cook. Because everybody's got really high expectations of what the Christmas lunch is going to be. I, yesterday, went to a little cookery school with famous Italian chef, I should say famous temperamental Italian chef, Aldo Zilli. Been around for decades, and there, having never done it before, I had to make homemade pasta and make a tiramisu. And over the course of the next few minutes, you'll see how I got it and what he thought of me. After the madness of the jungle, I'm now about to subject myself to another bush tucker trial. This time, it's with the famous Aldo Zilli. How are you, Aldo?
Nigel,
so, as I understand it,
this is weird.
I've been thrown into this, and I am going to be your sous chef this afternoon. Is that right?
Yes. There's a lot to do.
Is there? OK, off I go.
Off you go. See you in a minute. Let's make some pasta, shall we? Have you made pasta before?
Never.
OK. No, don't squash it down, Nigel.
Well, hang on, how can I knead it without squashing it?
Like you making, have you ever made cakes or dough or?
Right, so that's
You never
stretchy.
made a dough?
No.
You got plenty of it though.
That's what the papers say.
Pardon me. Sorry, Coots. Catch. Lift up, show it to the camera.
There we are. We have now some brand new shoelaces, better known as fettuccine.
Fettuccine,
Wow.
fatti da Nigel Farage.
Never done that before. That looks amazing.
This is what I'd like you to do.
Okay.
Not too close to your jacket. 'Cause
Yeah.
I need that for another staff later.
Okay. Right, so...
There you go. Nigel?
No.
Where are you going?
I've got to go forwards, up.
No.
Show me again.
I can't believe you find that difficult. That's really the
Show me.
simplest thing you've done today.
Show me again.
There you go. There you go, Nigel. Bravo, Nigel. Done it.
Good.
I knew you would get
Good.
there. I knew.
Good.
I just knew. Again and again. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's very delicate. Very, very good, Signor Nigel. Mamma mia, che pasta! Buonissima! I love that! Beautiful. Oh!
Yeah.
It's a gift in Italy. People gift panettone every Christmas. You see them everywhere. We're going to make a little boozy one.
Right, good.
Okay? Now, just pipe all the way around.
Yep.
And cover the whole thing.
So outside.
Outside in.
Yeah.
Bravo, Nigel! So it's a great dessert to have in the fridge.
Yeah.
As a
And you can pre-make it, leave it in the
Leftovers.
fridge. Yeah. He'll say it's absolute rubbish. I know it will, but
keep going, Nigel. Wow, look at that, Nigel.
is that all right?
I'm sorry, but I have to give him a compliment here. Now he's mucked it up. Look, as soon as I said that, oh my God, Nigel. I was just about to give you a compliment.
Okay.
All right. It's a bit of sugar.
Yep.
Bravo, Nigel, tiramisu. The best tiramisu I've seen in a long time. Let me give you a kiss. Mwah. Put it over there.
Amazing.
Put it over there. This is amazing.
I tell you what, that
Looks like
really,
Christmas.
that really does look good. Well, that was huge fun. No real arguments, no one or two criticisms, but you know, making pasta, I'd never thought about it in my life. I can see those first couple of steps you've got to get right, but with practice you would. And in the end, a beautiful product, easy to cook. Aldo, I mean, that looks amazing, doesn't it?
And guess what? You've passed the test. So you've moved from blue to black.
What can
That's executive.
I say?
There you go. My
There we
new
are.
executive chef.
There we are. I always thought GB News would sack me at some point. It was never going to take long. I've got a new job. I start
got
Monday.
no problems anymore.
Thank you. Really good. Great fun. Terrific. Very good.
Thank you.
And really great guy, Aldo. And it's funny, I think the problem with cooking is we just don't know what to do most of the time. Now, after the break, it'll be one of our regular features. It'll be Barrage the Farage with audience members here. I've absolutely no idea what they're going to ask me. Barrage the Farage coming after the break.
Your weekend starts here with Friday Night Live with me, Mark Dolan, 8 till 9 on GB News. Big stories, big guests, and big laughs as we get you ready for a cracking weekend. That's Friday Night Live with Mark Dolan. Fridays 8 till 9 on GB News. Bring your own drinks. The admission's free.
Wake up to the headlines with headliners every morning at 5 a.m. We treat you to the day's biggest stories before anyone else, 7 days a week. You can catch up on everything you need to know before you've even had your kippers. Headliners every morning at 5 a.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens. With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to give you accurate reporting every day. When the news breaks, we'll be there with bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Good afternoon, Britain. Join us, Tom and Emily,
To find out what's happening in the heart of Westminster.
and why it matters to you.
Weekdays from midday, we bring you the most compelling stories from across the United Kingdom.
And from your doorstep to our inbox.
That's right, we want to hear from you.
GB News,
Britain's news channel.
GB News, unlike other broadcasters, isn't obsessed with the London-Westminster bubble. We think there's a nation beyond the M25, and that's why we talk about the issues that matter across the land. Join me on State of the Nation, 8 to 9 o'clock, Monday to Thursday, on GB News. Daisy's listening, and you should too.
I'm Andrew Doyle. Join me at 7 o'clock every Sunday night for Free Speech Nation, the show where I tackle the week's biggest stories in politics and current affairs with the help of my two comedian panellists and a variety of special guests.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News is Britain's news channel, and now you can support it. All you have to do is scan that QR code that's up on your screen right now, or you can go to gbnews.com/support and become a GB News member. You'll have fantastic benefits. We're also going to organise special events where you as GB News members can meet the presenters, the on-screen faces. Scan the QR code or go to gbnews.com/support. Thank you so much.
Barrage the Farage has been a regular feature of our broadcast. We've done them at all 43 of these Barrage at Large events, so there's no reason to make any exception here in Birmingham. And first up, I have got to barrage me. Peter, be kind.
Yes, Nigel, I have a question for you. Would you rather rejoin the EU or spend Christmas with Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer?
What a question! What a question! Christmas with Keir Starmer. Oh, I'm getting tired. Sorry, I'm not feeling too good. It wouldn't be a rip-roarer, would it? No. Christmas with Rishi. I can see one very big stumbling block to my Christmas with Rishi. He's teetotal. I don't think that's going to work for me on Christmas Day. And do you know what? It's an easy question because, thank goodness, we've left the EU. Yay. Thank goodness. And what an epic battle it was. It was an epic battle. But let me reverse it. Which would you rather do?
Well, I know I'd rather spend it with them because it will just confirm that I don't want to vote for them. My sister's watching and she said, you need to stand as MP, so we've got someone to vote for.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. You're very, very kind. You're very kind. Now, second up. Faye, you are second up on Barrage the Farage. The floor is yours. Hello.
Lovely to meet you. Merry Christmas. In a few hours, it will be the winter solstice and the days start to get longer. It's a great day for many people, including me. What's your favourite day of the year?
Well, favourite day of the year, I mean, Christmas Day is special. There's no question about that. It is special for all of us. And I think it doesn't matter how old we become, our memories of being kids, I think, at Christmas are something that will live with us forever. But birthdays are also important. And so I'm going to choose birthdays because I've got a birthday coming up on April the 3rd next year.
21 again.
And I'm going to be 60. I'm going to be 60. But you know what? I've had a few scrapes in my life. I've survived aeroplane crash, major car crash, serious illness,
So I'm not depressed at getting 60. I'm going to have a mega party. Do you want to come?
Yes.
Tell me, does the solstice stand out for you as really the most important day of the year?
Yeah, because we just get a bit more daylight and it just makes everyone a bit happier, doesn't it?
I think you're right.
Spring's on the way.
What a lovely thought. Splendid. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. OK, and lastly, the last question. This is going to be the tough one, Rob. I know it is. Welcome to the programme. What are you going to barrage me with?
Barrage you? Well, it's a very complex question.
Oh, dear.
And you might need some help from Santa Claus. But if you could have anything in the world for Christmas, what would it be?
Anything in the world for Christmas. That is... Well, it depends whether you choose it, I guess, for yourself, or whether you choose it, you know, more broadly for the country or for the world. If I could have anything for Christmas, and it would never be possible because of the way human beings are, and given the state the world's in, whether we look at what's happening in Ukraine or we look at what's happening, you know, in Israel and Gaza and goodness knows where we might be with Taiwan in a couple of years, just the idea that we had peace and we somehow became better human beings. But, you know, it's funny, the turn of the century, when at the beginning of the 20th century, the Times read a big article saying that because we were now in the 20th century, human beings would be kinder to each other. Yeah. And you think how awful the 20th century was and how badly the 21st century is going. So I think I'd say peace is the one thing, if I could have anything in the world, because I'd benefit from it, but every single other person living on the planet would benefit from it. But it's not going to happen. If it was a personal, you know, what would I personally like more than anything in the world? Very simple. And that is that all 4 of my children could live long, healthy, productive lives. I can't think of anything else I'd rather have than that. But let me turn the tables. Let me turn the tables. What would you choose?
Well, it's been on my Christmas list for many years, and that is a helicopter and a nice big yacht. But sadly, they've never turned up.
Well, you should get a job in the public sector, and you might find these days it might be very different. Well, look, we've clearly the Christmas special barrages were a little bit less political than they normally are, but that's because it's this time of the year. We're trying to have fun. And in a moment, we're going to have the most enormous amount of fun. I'm going to be joined on Talking Pints in a moment by a local lad done good. Yep, Roy Wood is going to be with me. And we're going to talk about a variety of things, including that record. It's never going to go away. Oh, I wish it could be Christmas every day. And you never know, I might even talk him into singing it. You never, ever know. See you in just a moment.
2024, a battleground year.
The year the nation decides.
As the parties gear up their campaigns for the next general election.
Who will be left standing when the British people make one of the biggest decisions of their lives?
Who will rise?
And who will fall? Let's find out together.
For every moment, the highs, the lows, the twists and turns.
We'll be with you for every step of this journey.
In 2024, GB News is Britain's election channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Good afternoon, Britain. Join us, Tom and Emily,
to find out what's happening in the heart of Westminster
and why it matters to you.
Weekdays from midday, we bring you the most compelling stories from across the United Kingdom.
And from your doorstep to our inbox.
That's right, we want to hear from you.
GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Every Sunday from 11, join Michael Portillo.
There'll be topical discussion, looking at the week before and the week to come. So kick back and relax at 11 a.m. on Sundays on GB News with me, Michael Portillo. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Your weekend starts here with Friday Night Live with me, Mark Dolan, 8 till 9 on GB News. Big stories, big guests, and big laughs as we get you ready for a cracking weekend. That's Friday Night Live with Mark Dolan. Fridays 8 till 9 on GB News. Bring your own drinks. The admission's free.
Time tired of the usual focus-tested, pre-prepared Westminster runaround? Well, so am I.
So you want higher taxes?
Is your department to blame for this? Are you rethinking this policy? Every Sunday at 9:30, I'll be sitting down with those in power to get the truth about the issues affecting you.
Let's be honest, we've known about the cost pressures of this project for years, not months.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show with personality. On GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join us every night on GB News at 11 p.m. for Headliners, which is 3 top comedians going through the next day's news stories, which is exactly what you need, because when the establishment has gone crazy, you need some craziness to make sense of it.
Headliners. You don't have to bother reading the newspaper. We've got it covered for you. Every night at 11 p.m. and repeated every morning at 5 a.m. We won't send you to sleep like some of the other paper review shows out there.
So join us 11 p.m. every night on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's my favourite part of the show. It is Talking Pints with Roy Wood. Happy Christmas, Roy. Oh, I've lost again. Never mind. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's a cheque for £2,059.
Roy Wood, local lad. You're from these parts. And you know, looking at your life and your career, it's been music, it's been forming bands, it's been striving to make new music. And you've done so well, you've now got your own star on the Birmingham Walk of Stars. How good is that?
That's great, yeah. Mind you, the builders have been in since, and it got smashed up. They've taken it away, and it's going to be replaced, hopefully. Yeah.
I'm sure it will be. Now, you're 14 years old, full of musical ambition, and you form the Falcons, don't you?
Yeah.
What was the aim?
I don't know. When I was 12 years old, I went to see. The Shadows were my favourite band, and I got on a number 14 bus, went into Birmingham, saw the Shadows at the Birmingham Town Hall, and they were just totally amazing. Hank Marvin's guitar sounded like it had been dipped in Dettol, you know, it was just so marvellous and clean. And I knew then that that's what I wanted to do, and I never gave my parents a minute's rest since, you know, and they got me a guitar on the knock.
And incredibly, we'll ignore that. Incredibly, the Falcons, when you were 15, played in this very venue.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
What a thing. Yeah.
Pretty amazing. And without wanting to reveal your age, we can't really. What year would that have been?
Oh, ages ago. I'll let you know later.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, long time, yeah.
But you seem sort of, through your musical career, it's almost as if you're sort of a bit of a serial founder of bands. Is it that somehow you're always striving for the big new idea?
I think so, yeah. I think I've always been more of an ideas person than a musician, really. I love moving forward. And people over the years have, you know, got in touch with me and asked me to reform Wizard or The Move or any of that. And I don't like looking back, you know. I want to go forward and do something new.
But you like writing songs too?
Oh, yeah, I love it. I've been doing some stuff recently, because I haven't been touring for a while. But I've done a few odd gigs with Alfie Bow. He's a real good bloke. You should get him on this.
I will.
He's a really great bloke. And, I've written a song for Alfie, and we're going to be doing some recording in the new year, so that's a new thing to look at.
Yeah, I mean, your creative side, I mean, you know, The Move, again, something that you, Roy Wood, are behind, and what an amazing little piece of history. You know, Radio 1,
First record ever on Radio 1.
Yeah, because it's been pirate radio, it's been Caroline, it's been all these different things, and Tony Blackburn, 1967, spins the first disc, and I remember my mum being really excited about Radio 1. And the first blooming record they play is Flowers in the Rain from The Move, written by R. Wood. That must have been huge.
Yeah, I hadn't got a clue at the time. I was only a young bloke, you know. I was only like 17, 18 or something. When you're actually on the road, your feet don't touch the ground, you know, and you don't realise what's going on until you hear your record on the radio and you go, yeah, great.
And on it goes, you know, you helped to co-found ELO and, you know, Electric Light Orchestra, and you move on to Wizard and all these remarkable things. But all through this, you know, musical side of your life, you've also had a few opinions of your own about politics and the world. I was just reading some of your stuff. I mean, you were a UKIP member, you were a Brexit Party member, and that headline in the Birmingham Post, for those that don't know it.
So you were the one that read it?
I wish it could be Brexit every day.
It's a shame it didn't work out as we would have wanted it to.
No. Well, it's not perfect, but it is done at least, isn't it?
It's done, yeah.
It's done, and you were against it right from the very start. You know, you always believed it was a mistake, us getting involved in a political union with Europe.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. It's a strange thing at the moment because I don't think most of the general public are comfortable with anything that's going on, and they don't really know who to vote for. It's like hold your nose and hope for the best, you know.
Yeah.
And I think you must think that way too.
Oh, I do. And I think the level of dissatisfaction is enormously high, you know. Now it's Christmas time. It's the 21st of December, and there are some records, some Christmas records that stand out, some Christmas records that get played every year. They are perennials. And if I had to sit down and write, you know, 8, 10 of the most well-known Christmas records, there is one that absolutely would be on the list. And, of course, it was you, with the group Wizard at the time, and it's exactly 50 years ago.
The 50th anniversary this year.
This year.
Of that song, yeah.
And what was the inspiration behind it? How did it come about?
Well, when I wrote it, I got some ideas for a Christmas song that I'd had in the folder for a long time anyway. And Christmas hits before that, there was only one that I could remember, a rock and roll one, which was Rocking Around the Christmas Tree with Brenda Lee. Yeah. And the Christmas songs after that were all sort of weird comedy kind of ones, you know. And there had been no rock and roll Christmas hit. So I thought, yeah, now's the time. And I wrote it in May. And we recorded it in the August when it was bright sunshine. And I went in the studio early with the road crew, and we put up some fans in the corners of the studio and some blue lights and all that, and left it on for an hour, and it was really cold. I phoned the band up and said, "Turn up with your overcoats and scarves and bobble hats and all that," which they did. And we recorded it like that in the freezing cold. Wow. And just to get the atmosphere, and we put trimmings up in the studio.
What a hit.
And there's a tree in the control room and all that. And then we went for a bit of a break around 5 o'clock for a sandwich, opened the doors and it was blazing sunshine. And about a week later, we got some school children down from Birmingham on a coach, and which is great. It was a school project for them, and I explained to them how a song got from a microphone onto a disc, if you know what I mean, and I showed them how the desk worked in the studio and all that. And by the time we got to the point where they were doing their little bit, they'd lost all their inhibitions. And we went in there, they did it first or second time.
Well, and it sounds beautiful.
Brilliant. And all the atmosphere is there.
And it's there, and we all know it. And folks, do you think we should get Roy to do it tonight? Would you do it for us, Roy? Well, you've been a great Talking Pints guest. And please, make everybody's Christmas go and do it. Roy Wood, everybody. Well, that is going to be a real treat. 50 years since it first came out. It's never going to go away. Roy, local lad, done good. Great guest on Talking Pints. And I guess now we look ahead for a moment to 2024. What's going to come? It's going to be a general election year in this country. It's going to be an epic general election year in America. Whether it'll be Trump v. Biden, what it's going to be, none of us actually quite know. One thing I do know is that GB News has made the most enormous strides over the course of the last year. We've established ourselves fully as a new media organisation. I'm very proud to be a part of it, and I look forward to 2024, and I want to wish all of you at home a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year, and I absolutely can't wait. I'll be back in the studio on the 1st of January. But now, folks, stand up, turn round. Roy Wood, take it away!
Spoilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. I'm Craig Snell. Well, as we go into a brand new year, for most of us on New Year's Day, we will see some sunshine, but unfortunately there is more rain to come. So as we end 2023, we've still got this area low pressure hanging around. Note the tightly packed isobars, especially in the south, indicating a